Before I get into explaining today's video, have you heard about Peach yet? Lindsay Ivan's new channel Peach is launching so soon, and it's going to be absolutely epic. Make sure to subscribe so you get news about her latest videos and send her all of your love in likes and comments because she just deserves it. We all know that. But now on to our video. I love how we say you shouldn't, but we all know you will. The first thing people do after anyone says, wait, don't go in there, it's haunted, is go in there because it's haunted. Either way, someone starts a game of truth or dare, or the ball they were playing with accidentally gets thrown into the house somehow. It's gonna happen. Welcome back to Most Amazing. I'm your host, Rachel Fisher, and I'm about to review our list of top 10 abandoned farmhouses that should not be explored. Starting off number 10, we have Fort Abraham Lincoln Cluster House in North Dakota. You'd think that if your house was haunted by the love of your life, you'd kind of be okay with it, maybe. But that's what happened here at Fort Abraham. General Custer built this home for his wife, but unfortunately he barely got to spend any time in it. Custer died in 1876, and his wife decided that even in death they would not be parted. Mrs. Custer apparently haunts the home and has been spotted in her morning gown walking around. Lights flicker on and off, and sometimes phantom voices echo when no one else is there. Whether or not Custer resides in the house with her, we do not know, but the romantic in me hopes that in some way they have been reunited. Number 9, the Hager House, Hagerstown, Maryland. This house is crowded when it comes to hauntings. It is currently occupied spiritually by two families, the Roers and the Hammonds. Jonathan Hager and his wife Elizabeth purchased the plot in 1740, but died in a tragic accident in 1775. After that, his son inherited it and passed it to the Roers, who, when they died, passed the house to their relatives, David C. Hammond and his sister Susan Armstrong. By the 1840s, though, a strange string of sudden deaths occurred. 4 of the grown children of the Hammonds died within 3 months of each other. Now this house sits empty in this world, though anything but in the next. Visitors report hearing disembodied voices and objects moving on their own. Number 8, LV Farm, Kent, UK. In 1998, the village of Pluckley was verified by the Guinness Book of World Records to be the most haunted village in England. LV Farms is one of the reasons for that claim. Built in 1406, the first residents of the home were ghosts. Apparently, as many claim the house has never been without them. Visitors report hearing footsteps creaking around the house, which some say could be Robert Dubois. Robert Dubois was a highway workman people say preyed on the villagers until he was stabbed for his crimes. But the spookiest occurrence that happens at the house is the one belonging to the tragic death of Edward Brett. Brett owned the farm in 1900 until one day he apparently said, quote, "I will do it," walked into the dairy farm and shot himself. Visitors report hearing a voice whisper those very same words before they hear footsteps leading out the door. Number 7, Monte Cristo Homestead, New South Wales, Australia. If a house ever has a tragic past, it is almost like guaranteed something sinister is about to happen. It's just a thing. It's one of the reasons real estate agents, for the most part, have to disclose whether someone died in the house or not. Superstitious or not, it does change the way people look at the place they're about to live. Be honest, guys, if you were told that somebody died in your house, what would you do? What would you do? The Monte Cristo homestead was built by the Crawley family in 1876, but soon after, tragedy struck. The haunting began the day the young daughter of Christopher and Elizabeth Crawley was dropped down a flight of stairs by their maid. The maid claimed that it was a mysterious dark force that threw her from her hand. Regardless of how or why, the death haunted the couple. When Christopher passed away, this tormented his wife even more, who reportedly left the house only twice before her own death since then, and then stayed thereafter. Families who have occupied the house periodically ever since have reported feeling sudden agitation by the stairs, or have even heard Elizabeth ordering them to get out of the house. They could hear steps on a wooden floor despite the house having been carpeted years later. If anyone chooses to live there for any amount of time, they have to decide whether they can live with another family and that they'll never be alone. Number 6, the Myrtles Plantation, St. Francisville, Louisiana. This 18th century plantation, along with its 600-acre land, carries with it a dark past. Only one murder was ever confirmed on the estate, but it is suspected that over 10 lives were taken. One of the most famous ghosts who reportedly walks the ground is that of Chloe. Chloe was a slave who poisoned the birthday cake of the daughters of Clark Woodruff to take a small kind of revenge. She apparently didn't intend for the girls to die, only to fall ill, but when they did die, her fellow slaves were so fearful that Woodruff would find out that they hung Chloe for her crimes. This is one of the tales that gets fluctuated over the years, but the verified murder was that of William Drew Winter, who was shot on his porch, reportedly crawled back into the house, climbed all the way up to the 17th step on the stairs in time to die in the arms of his love. Both tales have sparked sightings of spirits on the ground, and in Winter's case, visitors reportedly see and hear bloody footprints crawl to the 17th step only to then stop. Number 5, the Bell Witch Farm. John Bell had a very interesting neighbor named Kate Batts. She was suspected of being a witch, and John made the foolish mistake of cheating her out of land. On her deathbed, Batts set a curse upon him and claimed that she would haunt the family forever. So, when he began hearing knocking sounds on the walls and the doors and chains being dragged around the house, he knew it was her. But then things started to get worse. His daughter began getting pinched and scratched, even beaten by invisible forces. Even John reportedly felt the stick being stabbed into his throat. John mysteriously died on December 1820, and many believe that Batts was responsible. For 200 years, visitors still report seeing orbs and hear talking and walking when no one is around. Could it be that Batts trapped the family with her to haunt the house for the rest of time? Maybe. But should you wish to visit, perhaps it would be wise only to view from afar. Number 4, the Loretta Lynn Plantation. In 1966, the same year Loretta Lynn's dear Uncle Sam swept the radio, she bought this 1876 plantation. Despite rumors that 19 soldiers were said to have been murdered there in 1863, Lynn paid no mind. But soon after moving in, Loretta and her family, of course, began experiencing very strange interactions. Her son Jack said he saw the spirit of a Civil War soldier taking off his boots. Then her son Ernest reported seeing 2 soldiers standing at the foot of his bed. And there's more. Her twin daughter spotted a woman in white sobbing on a balcony, and this time Loretta saw it too. In order to solve the mystery, Lynn reportedly held seances in the house. But then her son Jack tragically drowned in 1984, and Lynn and the rest of her family moved out. She opened it up to visitors eventually, but requested that not a single object in the house was to be touched. If they did, it would come at a terrible cost. When a tour guide accidentally touched an object, they were shoved down the stairs by an invisible force. Apparently, the ghosts in the house agreed with Lynn's demands, or were they demands they made of Lynn? Either way, though it may be open to visitors, if you do visit, perhaps keep your hands in your pockets. Before we get to our top 3, guys, if you like this video, you know what to do. Do the thing, like the video, subscribe, do a little dance, enjoy it. I don't know, do what you need to do, but we love you for liking our videos. Number 3, the Basilica Axe Murder House, Basilica. This next house literally has a sign outside that says Axe Murder House, so I don't know, I guess it's nice that they aren't trying to hide anything. It's pretty transparent. The story goes as follows. On June 10th, 1912, Josiah and Sarah Moore, along with their children, were bludgeoned to death inside their home. It is one of America's most infamous cold cases. No one knows who did it, and the home remains preserved exactly as it was on the night that they died, besides the bodies. Though many report that their spirits remain. The house remains a tourist attraction, and there's even a steep price to pay should you wish to stay the night. There's no running water or electricity, so that's kind of charming. Besides the lack of running water and no electricity, the $400 fee, it may just cost you your life. Allegedly in 2014, a paranormal reporter stayed at the house, and at 12:45 in the morning, the owners got the call. The man was covered with stab wounds, which authorities later reported were self-inflicted. Whether or not someone drove him to it, no one knows. The owners reportedly had people stay there all the time for the same price and nothing happened, but apparently just this time something weird happened, so who knows? Maybe the ghosts had had enough. Number 2, the Dandy House. Imagine finally walking up to your dream house, excited for what's to come next. And then somebody yells behind you, "What are you doing? You can't move here!" Which is exactly what happened to James Link the day he and his family moved into this beautiful farmhouse. Seeing the family move in, a neighbor drove by with this warning. Prior to Link, the Dandy family had been the owners from 1970 to 1974, and recalling the events they endured, their neighbor couldn't resist giving a heads up. Among hearing the typical disembodied voices and haunted footsteps, which belong to every haunted tale there is, they saw chimney bricks removed by invisible hands, and often their bodies would have inexplicable burns on them. The suspect no one quite knows enough about until one night the Dandies awoke to find a male spirit in a plaid shirt and blue jeans holding a rifle at the end of their bed. No thank you! Over the years, the family performed exorcism after exorcism, but the spirit always returned. The Links experienced the same thing, so they got the heck out of there, and today, the Dandy House remains a treasure trove for all ghost hunters. monsters. Number 1, the Old Arnold Estate. Okay, so we all know I'm a wimp. As I was writing this one, I was in my house alone and I didn't want to move from where I was sitting just in case my place was randomly haunted suddenly. Anyways, the movie that still haunts me to this day is The Conjuring. One of the scariest nightmares I've ever had comes from that movie. So when I say you couldn't pay me $1 million a year for the rest of my life for me to sleep in this house, believe it. The Old Arnold Estate is the farmhouse that inspired the film The Conjuring. 8 generations of family lived and died in this old house and apparently never wanted to leave. When the Perrin family moved in the 1970s, the advice they got was to leave the lights on. According to town records, 3 people committed suicide, 2 people drowned, 4 people froze to death, and lastly, a girl was brutally murdered. One of the reported was that of a rumored Satanist, who I will not name, cause reasons, who was reportedly the main reason for any attacks in the house. Famous paranormal investigators Ed and Lorraine Warren tried to help the Perrin family in the 1970s until they ended up moving to Georgia in the 1980s. So, don't go there. Don't go there. And that was our list of top 10 places you should never visit, though of course we know you will. I won't though. I'll be perfectly happy sitting here in my apartment. I can make haunted just by thinking about it, apparently. I'm freaking out because like, I'm just thinking every noise is a ghost because of this fucking list. I love being scared. His daughter, oh, I'm so creeped out. So, sorry. This is creepy, guys, because I'm like, right now my roommate's just gone out and I'm filming in my kitchen and I just keep thinking someone's right next to me and it's freaking me out while I'm doing this. I don't think my house is haunted, but I'm getting psychologically just so into this. Number 4. This is ridiculous. Let us know in the comments if you actually have visited some of these places or any haunted farmhouses we didn't list here. I've been your host, Rachel Fisher, and again, like this video, subscribe for more, and until next time, stay away from Ouija boards and take care. Lemon water.